Celtic are back under the European lights, and tonight marks a brand new chapter, not just for the club, but for every fan who's been holding out for a response after the disappointment in Kazakhstan. Forget the Champions League. That's behind us now. All the frustration, all the fallout, it's done. The Europa League starts now, and it starts with a massive test away in Belgrade against Red Star, or Crvena Zvezda if you prefer the local name. It's not an easy opener. But since when has anything been easy when it comes to Celtic in Europe? This is the level we're at, and to be honest, there's no reason we shouldn't attack this tournament with real belief. The team touched down in Belgrade after a morning training session at Celtic Park. It's a decent journey, over 3 hours from Glasgow, but nowhere near as brutal as Almaty, thank goodness. The atmosphere over there is already intense. Last night, at the Ryko Mitic Stadium, Brendan Rodgers and Benji Negrin faced the press in what felt like a typical pre-match build-up. But if you read between the lines, there's a quiet fire in Brendan's words. He made it clear, forget the Champions League, that chapter's closed. And it should be. That tie against Kayet left its mark, no doubt about it. You could feel it on the pitch, hear it in the stands, even online. But now, this Europa League campaign is a fresh start. It's a new journey. And if there's one thing Celtic fans know how to do, it's pick ourselves up, dust off the badge, and go again. And look, let's be honest, Celtic haven't exactly been giants in Europe over the past 2 decades. We've had flashes, moments, but nothing consistent. That's why this competition actually suits us. The Champions League is glamorous, sure, but the Europa League is where we can actually do some damage. There's a path here. There are big teams, no doubt, but the gap isn't insurmountable. Brendan talked about learning from last year, and he's right. The team's come a long way since the horror show in Dortmund. That was a lesson, a brutal one. 7 goals conceded, most of them in a single half. But look at what's happened since then. 5 away games in Europe, 3 clean sheets. Nearly got another at Bayern Munich, too. Defensively, we're getting there. But it's not just about keeping the door shut. We need to create, we need to convert. That's the next evolution for this team. The 3 clean sheets on the road last season, Atlanta, Demo, Kayet, we didn't score in any of them. That's the balance we need to find. Defend well, sure, but don't forget to take your chances. Brendan's confident we'll have space tonight. That's what he said, and he's spot on. When Celtic gets space, we can hurt teams. The pitch looks decent, the surface looks good, and with Zvezda at home, they're going to come at us. That's what they do. That's when we're at our best. Quick transitions, breaking lines, runners in behind. And if you've never heard about the tunnel walk at this stadium, it's something else. Proper old-school intimidation. The away dressing room isn't even inside the stadium. It's in a separate building. So the players will have to walk nearly 240 meters to get to the pitch, and over 70 of those meters are through this long, eerie tunnel. Graffiti everywhere. Red and white walls. Giant murals. Eyes staring you down. It's the kind of thing that gets in your head, especially when the tunnel opens up directly in front of the Ultras. It's not exactly a warm welcome. But come on, this Celtic squad isn't full of kids fresh out the academy. They've been to Ibrox. They've been to Dortmund. They felt the heat at Bayern and Bergamo. This team has walked into hostile arenas before and kept their heads. And they'll need to do that again tonight. Brendan was clear, embrace the atmosphere. That's what big players do. You don't shy away from the noise, you silence it. And as intimidating as Zvezda can be, their home record in Europe isn't untouchable. Far from it, actually. Just a few weeks ago, they lost at home to PAOK in Champions League qualifying. They've been beaten at this ground by PSV, Benfica, and even Barcelona in recent years. In their last 11 home games in Europe, they've only won 3. That's not a fortress. That's a stadium with cracks in it. And Celtic can take advantage if they show up the right way. Squad-wise, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Anthony Ralston is back in training and made the trip. Austin Trusty stayed behind and will return to training on Friday. Alistair Johnston is out, and so are Shinyamata, Amamura, Callum Osmond, and Jamai Simpson, who, let's be honest, we're all still waiting to actually see in action. Brendan made it clear he's got no hesitation throwing Kobe Donovan into the starting 11. And honestly, that's a bold call, but it might be the right one. Playing Ralston is the safe option. You know what you're getting, steady, dependable, not much going forward. But Donovan? He might surprise us. He might crumble, sure. But he might also show he's more ready for this level than anyone thought. At center back, Carter Vickers and Scales feel locked in. Tierney's likely to start on the left. In midfield, it's McGregor +2. Could be Negrin and Hatate, like we've seen in the big games so far. But don't rule out Engels. He adds energy, and Brendan might want that drive. Up front, Tanky's got to play. He's been electric and looks like the most confident attacker we've got. Through the middle, maybe Dyson gets the nod. Raw pace, non-stop pressing, the kind of player you want when you're trying to catch teams on the break. Then there's the right wing question. James Forrest might get the shirt. Experience matters in games like this, and he's been here before. Red Star have some threats, no question. Marko Arnautovic is a name everyone knows. Big, strong, experienced. He'll be their focal point. They've also got players like Radonjic and Duarte, quick guys who can break lines. But they're missing Rade Krunic, who used to be at Milan. And for some reason, Serbian media think their top scorer Katai might not start. That's a strange one. 11 goals already this season, couple of hat tricks. But maybe they feel he's not suited to European football. It happens. We've seen similar with Celtic over the years. Guys who smash it domestically but struggle to make the jump. And here's the thing. Red Star and Celtic were almost mirror images of each other. Dominant in the league, stumbling in Europe. They've won 8 domestic titles in a row. We know what that's like. They're ahead of their rivals by miles. Again, familiar story. But when it comes to continental competition, they've been knocked out by the likes of Sheriff, Maccabi Haifa, Ammonia, and PAOK in the last few years. Sound familiar? And if you check the UEFA coefficient table, we're almost side by side. 1 point separates us. We're playing a team that's basically the Serbian version of Celtic. They even have a noisy support, a massive stadium, and a long history. This isn't some European superpower we're facing. This is a reflection of who we are, and maybe who we don't want to be anymore. That's why tonight matters. It's not just the start of the group stage. It's a chance to lay down a marker, to show that we're not here to make up the numbers. Brendan's been building something, and slowly, you can feel that identity taking shape. Solid at the back, faster in transition, smarter on the ball. There's still work to be done, of course, especially in the final third. But there's no reason we can't go to Belgrade and get a result. Hoda posted a rehab update on Instagram, by the way, doing weights underwater, with a caption that translates to little fish in the water. He's on the mend, but we shouldn't be rushing him. Big injuries take time, and it's not about having him back in October or November. It's about having him back properly. Imagine him and Tenki on either wing later in the season. That's a scary prospect for any defense. And yeah, there's been off-the-pitch stuff bubbling in the background. Meetings declined by supporter groups, statements flying around, frustration with the leadership. But tonight, none of that matters. Tonight is about the football. It's about the 11 players who'll walk down that red tunnel, through the noise, through the pressure, and onto the pitch. They'll be carrying all of our hopes with them. Tonight isn't just about proving something to Europe, it's about proving something to ourselves. Because if we're being honest, Celtic fans have been stuck between two feelings for a while now. On one hand, there's pride. We're still the dominant force in Scotland, still packing out the stadium every week, still producing moments that make you fall in love with football all over again. But on the other hand, there's that lingering frustration, that sense that we're just falling short when the lights get bright in Europe. We talk a good game, and sometimes we even play a good one, but results? Not often enough. That's why nights like this are so important. They offer something real, a chance to shift the narrative. Now, let's not kid ourselves. Red Star aren't some team you just roll over. They've been the top dogs in Serbia for years, racking up titles, cup wins, smashing domestic sides for fun. They've built a squad with serious depth. But just like us, they've hit a wall when it comes to Europe. Since 2020, they've been knocked out of Champions League qualifying by teams that, on paper, you'd expect them to beat. Sheriff, Maccabi Haifa, Ammonia. Even this season, they were dumped out by PAOK after drawing the away leg and losing at home. And yet, as soon as they're back in Serbia, they're hammering teams 5-1, 7-1. They even beat their old rivals Partizan in the derby at the weekend. That's what we're up against. A team that's ruthless domestically, but a bit shaky when things step up. In many ways, it's like looking into a mirror. Celtic are in the exact same position. We've dominated the Scottish game, but when it comes to that extra gear, that European leap, we just haven't quite made it. And tonight, that's what's on the line. It's not just 3 points. It's a statement. Go out there and show that we're not just Scotland's best. We're a team that can go toe-to-toe with Europe's second tier and maybe even punch above that. Brendan knows this. You can tell in how he speaks. There's a calmness there, a sense of purpose. He's not sugarcoating the task ahead, but he's also not buying into the fear. That tunnel, that crowd, that noise, all of it means nothing if you start the game with the right mindset. And he's right. Celtic have played in louder, nastier, more intense places. We've taken the fight to bigger teams. The fear factor's gone. It's all about how we channel that energy. If the players step onto that pitch thinking they belong there, then anything's possible. And when you break it down, player for player, we've got quality. Real quality. In goals, Schmeichel brings that experience. He's been in massive games before and knows how to handle pressure. At the back, Carter Vickers and Scales are forming a solid partnership. And if Kobe Donovan gets the nod at right back, then this is the kind of night that can make a young player. A game that turns potential into proof. KT on the left gives us balance and bite. Someone who understands what it means to wear that shirt in Europe. Midfield's where it could get interesting. McGregor's a guaranteed starter, the heartbeat of the team. But who lines up beside him could shape the whole match. Negrin's been solid, but Engels brings a different kind of energy, relentless running, aggressive pressing, and a bit of unpredictability. Hatate adds creativity and composure. If we get the mix right there, we'll have enough to win the battle in the middle of the park. That's where games like this are often won or lost. Not in the flashy moments, but in the dirty work, the second balls, the passes under pressure. And then there's the attack. Tinky's on fire. Every time he gets the ball, there's that buzz. You can feel something's about to happen. Whether he's cutting inside or stretching the play wide, he gives defenders a nightmare. Through the middle, Dyson brings raw pace and endless work rate. He might not be the most clinical finisher, but defenders hate playing against that kind of relentless energy. And on the right, if James Forrest gets the nod, it's for a reason, because he's been there. He's played in Europe, he's scored in Europe, and he knows how to manage a big night like this. It might not be the flashiest front three, but it's one that could cause problems. Red Star will have their own threats, no doubt. Arnautovic is the obvious one. He's a big name, a big personality, and when he's on it, he can change a game. They've got pace in the wide areas, skill in the number 10, and a defense that knows how to keep things tight. But they're also a team that can be rattled. A team that, when things don't go their way, starts to look a bit ordinary. Celtic need to test that. Start fast, stay aggressive, and force mistakes. There's also something in the atmosphere tonight that might just work in our favor. Red Star's support is passionate, loud, no doubt about it. But that can flip. If we get a goal early, if we frustrate them, the noise can turn to nerves. We've seen it happen before. Teams that look unbeatable suddenly losing their shape, their discipline, their heads. That's what Celtic need to do. Get under their skin. Make them doubt. Because once that happens, we've got enough quality to take advantage. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Whispers are swirling through Glasgow tonight, and if the chatter is to be believed, Parkhead may soon be welcoming a name no one dared to imagine. Word on the street is that Sergio Ramos, the legendary Spanish defender and four-time Champions League winner, has signed a lightning, quick deal with Celtic. A rumor, aye, but one that has already set tongues wagging across pubs, supporters' forums, and beyond. Sources close to the club remain tight-lipped, yet the buzz grew after a series of photographs allegedly showing Ramos arriving in Scotland began circulating online. Some say he was spotted near the airport in a dark green jacket. Others swear he was whisked straight to Lennoxtown for a hush medical. Whether it's smoke or fire, the story has the faithful dreaming of a new sheriff in town, one capable of commanding the back line with the sort of grit Celtic have craved in European nights. Ramos, at 39, is no longer in his first bloom, but his reputation precedes him. Few defenders in modern football carry such an aura of leadership, steel, and, let's be fair, a fair share of drama. If this deal has indeed been sealed at breakneck speed, it would be nothing short of a statement from the Hoops board, a sign they're willing to mix glamour with grit in pursuit of continental respect. Supporters are already imagining him clashing with rivals at Ibrox, marshalling the defense like a field general, and perhaps even thumping home the odd header from a corner. Skeptics, of course, raise an eyebrow. His wages, his age, his injury record. But even they cannot deny the spark this whisper has ignited. For now, nothing has been officially announced. It could all dissolve into smoke by morning light. Another tale added to the annals of transfer folklore. But tonight, in Glasgow, the rumor feels real enough. Sergio Ramos, the new sheriff of Celtic, riding into paradise on a deal as sudden as it is sensational. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.